Hello, I'm Milo. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. In this video, I'm going to be showing off Krazy Kong, an LCD handheld game by Grandstand. I don't have the manual, so there's going to be some speculation or some missing information in this video. I don't know what year it was released in, for example, but let me tell you what I do know before I show off the game itself. So there's at least 5 LCD handheld games that have the title Krazy Kong, and 3 of them are from Grandstand. Sidebar, none of them seem to be related to Falcon's licensed Donkey Kong clone that Nintendo contracted them to do. But 2 of them, Krazy Kong and Krazy Kong with a K, are licensed rebrandings of the 2 different variants of Epoch's Monster Panic. These 2 were released apparently in 1981 and 1984. And they don't, contrary to the name, they don't appear to feature a gorilla in the game, just on the packaging. Now, as for this Krazy Kong, it has a lot of similarities with Hero and Princess, which is another game that Grandstand put out. It's a dual screen game, and it was also released by labels such as Sistema and Tandy, as well as a couple of others. No one really knows who created it originally. These companies might have or license it from one source, and I don't know if that source is Grandstand or one of the other companies. But whatever the case, Grandstand seems to have made a follow-up to it using the same characters and background style, but with new gameplay. And this, the design of the unit here is reworked from earlier Grandstand games, Combat Zone, and 2 of their Batman licensed games as well. So let's have a look at that unit in live action. Here it is. I think the unit is nice to hold. It's got a matte finish and the buttons are large and friendly. The battery compartment there is held on with a little screw. The unit takes 1 battery of type LR44 or SR44. It's also known as AG13 or 157, all coin buttons, you can see them there, coin cells, yeah. You can see the copyright notice on the back for Adam Leisure Group. They're the parent company of the Grandstand label, which operated in the UK and New Zealand. I would say for this unit, the screen is quite small, so it can be hard to make out detail on the sprites, and also the sound is quite simplistic, just beeps, no attempt at any kind of music. So let's look at the button function. Start and stop do the same thing, which is begin your game or interrupt it. An interrupted game can't be restarted, but pressing jump/mode resets to a neutral state. Pressing left or right switches the game mode, and holding down in that direction shows the high score for that mode. Now let's zoom in. So here's the gameplay in action. You are the Prince character, as seen in Hero and Princess, aiming to take down Krazy Kong. You have to ascend through these castle ruins, I guess, which are in the jungle, I suppose, and then you attack the ropes or vines or whatever they are, which are holding up the support branch that Kong is standing on. Now Kong will try to stop you by throwing these rocks or possibly coconuts, maybe durians, I don't know. You give me some opinions on what those are. Which they either roll along the top layer and then continue crisscrossing downwards, or they can be thrown directly to the bottom layer to then roll along at you. And as you can see, you can jump whenever there's an alcove above you by pressing jump. And you ascend ladders when they're present by pressing jump or up. And down can also bring you back down a ladder if you need to retreat, as long as it's there at the time. Jumping over a rock as it rolls under you gives you 1 point when you're on the bottom layer, but on the middle or upper layers it gives you 2 points. And then you get 10 points for attacking the vine, and then an extra 10 when you hit the 3rd vine. Which brings Kong crashing down to the ground. You should see that just in a second here. Kaboom. And that's a basic loop of the game and how it works. And there's my death. That's game over for game A. So game B is the harder mode. It's possible that there are more frequent rocks, or it might be faster, it ramps up faster. I'm not really sure about that, but what I do know for sure is that there's an additional character in this mode. You can see a bird that flies across through the middle row, which will damage you if you try to jump when you're on the middle row, and if it's passing by the alcove that you're under. Now, if you're familiar with Nintendo's Donkey Kong or Donkey Kong Jr. Game & Watch games, this whole gameplay setup might feel derivative. It seems that Grandstand may have taken the setting from Hero and Princess and the gameplay concept from Donkey Kong to create this version of Krazy Kong. And given the history of the name Krazy Kong and the gorilla antagonist, it seems fitting to me. Donkey Kong and Donkey Kong Jr. have a similar setup of you zigzagging up a structure while jumping over projectiles with gaps in the ceiling allowing or preventing your jumps. Donkey Kong even has the moving girder to block your jumps on the harder mode, which is similar to the bird in this game. Those two also end with you performing an action at the very top of the screen, 4 times in their case, it's 3 here. In Krazy Kong, you're always safe when you get to the very top position, and there's no timing element to your attack, as there is with Donkey Kong's swinging hook or Junior's swinging key. Once you get up there, you just need to press left and you attack the vine. Now, the game is still challenging and fun up to that point, though, and you might notice that it speeds up as you play. I'm not sure of the mechanism of that. Game & Watch games tend to increase speed as you approach 100 points, and then when you get to that milestone, it sort of resets. This one is a little unclear, but it does seem to be speeding up as you play. And notice when you perform the attack action, suddenly a second hero appears out of nowhere. I assume that's some kind of graphical error, if you can call it that, drawing the 2 sprites at once. But yeah, that's a loop of game B, getting to the point of defeating Kong. But yeah, that's a death. But we do have, one more life. Now, the game does sort of pause between lives, and it will deposit your character when it's safe, or if you input a direction, you'll get spawned by that as well. Yeah, so it's a fun little game. Like I said before, the screen is quite small, so you'll have to maybe hold it close to you. I've had trouble focusing on the game for this gameplay video, but yeah, that's a little bit of a problem. And the beeping sounds can get a bit grating over time, but that's okay. I'm going to do some zoomed in still photographs of some of the sprites now to show you, because they're hard to make out. So I took these photos using a macro lens to zoom in on the artwork so we could see it better, because I do like the LCD animation frames or sprites here, whatever you want to call them. It seems like some of them, or maybe all of them, were repurposed from the Hero and Princess game, but it's hard to tell without having access to that game. But they redrew the hero character on the unit so that it's possible to interpret the representation of the character as possibly being a little girl, or maybe even a sort of jungle native in a grass skirt type of thing. But given the history, I think it's fair to assume that it's the same hero character, and this could be a prelude or a sequel, and the princess is off screen. You can see the sword there. So this is the other character in the game, the bird. A few little shots of that with its forked tail and strange look. And yeah, here's Kong. Kong isn't animated too thoroughly, but I like the character design. Nice stocky little gorilla character. And there's a few different animations of the arm throwing the rocks, a few different frames there. And here at last, the mighty Kong brought low and defeated. So that's Grandstand's Krazy Kong, the yellow and green version. Thanks to Handheld Empire and Handheld Museum for some of the images up top, and thank you very much for watching.